Yo, good people. It's your homie HerbMan. Busting you back upside the head with another hot banger. Boogie, please go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if you're new to the program, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe on all of the. All right. So I am your neighbor holistic practitioner. I'm the one and only. I'm your homie HerbMan. We're coming live from South Africa. TikTok, live on YouTube. You guys, please go over there, do what you got to do to be notified every time the HerbMan show comes, because we teach people how to heal themselves. Okay, that's what we do. We open up a school to educate individuals on themselves. And when you're doing this type of work, you must understand that you cannot heal yourself unless you know thyself. So we teach you about the human frame and the human design so that you can be well on your way. It's a free information station. You don't have to pay for anything that you hear today. All you got to do to simply pay is pay attention. And how you do that on the HerbMan show is by double tapping that screen and getting us up to 100,000 likes during the live broadcast. All right. So once we get to 1,000 likes, we'll get into the subject matter at hand. But I've been preaching and teaching on these social media platforms for years, trying to get you guys to get in tune with nature. And there are things that are going to be able to get us out of that particular synchronicity, out of that particular intimacy with nature. By using your basic instincts to a level thereof. Okay. And your basic instinct has been dwindled down because of your modern instinct. Again, there's a difference between the world. Okay, the earth is nature made. What you're looking at right here, what you're witnessing, is the mind of the universe, the mind of nature, or the mind of God, right? And this intelligence, this pulse of life, right? Let me repeat that. This intelligence, this pulse of life, this energy, this frequency can create life. It creates living organisms. Okay, this pulse, this sensation, this thought, this energy, this frequency, this mind of God, this mind of nature, this particular frequency that this particular wavelength is promoting is life force. And you have life force within you. But your paradigm is under attack, because when you came into the paradigm, you're under a time stressor, which is aging you out of the dynamic. It is aging you out of the dynamic. Why? Because of stress. Not only do the stressors of life get you aged out, but also oxidative stress get you aged out. Now, we're going to talk about this today just to let you guys know. So you keep tapping and I'll keep talking. We're already to 1,000 likes. All right. So now we're looking at time being an illusion. When people say, well, they said time is an illusion and time ain't real. Well, the honest to God truth of it is, the matter is that there are two types of time. Okay, two types of time, and this is a age-old story, and I'm glad that this has been recorded on YouTube. So as soon as we get finished talking, this will be uploaded to YouTube, you guys. So if you miss anything, go on over there, please subscribe and be able to follow all the information that we're putting out. This is major stuff to evolve us as human beings. Okay, so now you didn't even know it was two times, more or less, understanding why time is a problem. But let's talk about it. Now, time and life. So we'll say time and life produces stress. Okay. So you got the stress of time. Okay. The stress of time. And then you got oxidative stress. Then you got lifestyle stress, right? We'll put that over here, just lifestyle. Okay. So the reason why we're aging at a particular rate is because of how we were created, right? So the more oxygen you put into the body, the more you age the body. Let me repeat that one more time. The more oxygen you intake into the body, you age the body. So a lot of us are sitting around with bad breathing techniques and bad breathing habits to where we can't really fix our problems. Remember, it's only two types of animal species on the planet. There are sea vegetables and there are seafood, and there is going to be sea animals included in that if that's what you want to say. But I said sea vegetables and sea animals and seafood, just like there's going to be air animals and air vegetables and air plants. Okay, and so we are a part of the air animal kingdom, just like you got people who are part, or you got things that are part of the water animal kingdom. So water and air are the life force coming into this thing. So the two things that we got to be able to balance as a smart species is air and water. Air and water, okay? And we'll talk about what those represent as we move forward. Air represents your spirit, while water represents your emotions, right? And so you have this duality of intellect and intuition, and we'll talk about that as we go. Thinking and feeling, okay? So now, stress, time stresses, the life has oxidative stress, the lifestyle choices, all of this is going to quickly age you. So now as you breathe incorrectly or selling the aging process of your internal environment, therefore you age you, and also you age out in your external environment as well. Okay, so this is why folks get wrinkles, and this is why you see wrinkles up under the eyes and all this type of stuff, because that's been hit with oxidative stress and time stress, life stress. Okay, so now when we talk about time stress, this means that you're doing everything under time. Now remember that time and life are enemies. Time is the enemy of life, everlasting life. Time is the enemy. There is a way for you to break through the time barrier. Okay, there is a way for you to break through the time barrier, but we need to keep tapping, and I'll keep talking. I'm gonna walk you through. Okay, there is a way for you to break through, and this is why research is very important. This is why going over ancient technology, ancient history, going over ancient relics and artifacts, going over research and going over modern discoveries and findings are very important to all be able to understand exactly at the pace at which the human evolution is evolving within. Okay, and so we done slowed down, just like any other matrix, any other market value that you would see. Sometimes you'll see to where the market kind of stagnates, and so we're at that stagnation. But because we're at a era, at age in time where we're starting to begin to get beneath or above or break through the veil. Now, here is the veil. Time, death can be the veil. Okay, so time can get you separated from the now. Now, what we're talking about here is your mind's ability to be in the past. We're gonna call this the past over here. We'll call this the past over here. Okay, your mind's ability to be in the past, the present, or the future. Okay, your mind's ability, your body's ability can only be where it's at. Your body can only be in the present, but your mind can train in the now or the present moment. Okay, so what we're doing is we're finding every lifestyle choice, every time constraint, every time stress decision, because if you're under time, you're always under stress. If you're under time, you're always under stress. If you worried about when the two teeth gonna come in, when you worried about when the back teeth gonna come in, if you worried about when the pampers gonna go off, when you worried about when they gonna walk, when you worried about when they gonna talk, when you worried about when they gonna go to daycare, when you worried about when they gonna start first grade, when you worried about when they gonna graduate, when you worried about their birthday, when you worried about this and that, and you're worried about time. It's under time constraints. I'm gonna tell you why you age now. Keep talking, keep tapping, and I'll keep talking. So you're doing every single thing under the stress of time, aging yourself. Now, again, time causes stress, which causes hyperventilation. So now, even though you are big and you sitting in the truck, a lot of y'all truck drivers think you don't do nothing. Shit, I don't do nothing, sit in the truck all day. But that is also a bad posture causing you bad air. You're not doing the appropriate thing with your time. Anybody sitting all day is going to mess up your digestive system. Sitting is for shitting. Okay? Sitting is for shitting, and you can't be in the shitting position all day. You're going to mess up your body's programming. Damn, we shitting all day? No, you ain't doing nothing. You watching the computer, you're on the laptop, you're on your cell phone, you're on the streaming, you're doing all this stuff, and you don't know why you're having bad digestive systems. I'm just kind of getting you understand that your human frame and your human design is not built to be sitting all day, right? But again, because you don't understand these things, these postures are creating bad air. Now you're imbalancing your air. It's your life force. You start to imbalance your waters. It's your life force. A lady asked me the other day, when you said gas and you talking about bloating and pooting and farting and bad breath and all this type of stuff, is going to be first signs, first signatures of what? The imbalance of the waters, your life force. And so not only do you got life force in the gut, you got life force also in your gonads. Okay, in your ovaries, in your testes. So again, when you're not balancing the waters and when you're not balancing the air, then you're all creating the imbalance of the lifetime. So what we got to do is get the mind back in the present now. How do we do that? In essence, is what we're talking about. So I want you to look at the board and you'll see that I had here for a second. I'm gonna put it back up here, but this is representing the mind. Right? And the mind is a womb, just like the body. Now, in essence, we're going to call this the air. Okay, because my mind, my high chakra, so we're going to call this the air, right? And then we'll call this the water. Just for shits and giggles, okay? Just for shits and giggles, we're going to call this the air and the water. No, it has nothing to do with chakras or anything like that. But just to explain what I'm telling you about air being a life force and water being a life force, I got to get this in, okay? So air is the life force from above, and water is the life force from below, okay? And so we were created from the air, because before creates the actions and the behavior to create a life below. So the baby, the creation actually started in the relationship, and that relationship created the physical baby from the air, which is why we are animals that live in the air, because to go against basic instinct, to go against human frame, to go against human design, to bend time. The mind being able to go in the past and the future, you're the only species that can bend time, which means that can bend their free will, which means that can change their basic instinct. So you genetically modify yourself, and you create a world within the earth that you can create an unnatural world that's within a natural earth, which is what we've done. We can create a modern society of a world that's within the earth that's being nothing but everlasting. That's what's happening. And so what's happening is that we have learned all about life and death through the lenses of people in a world. But you've never really started to learn life and death through the lenses of people outside of that bubble living in the earth in which it was designed. And if you start to exemplify the things of the earth and not things of somebody's world, then you'll realize that the earth things living longer than you. The trees are living longer than you. They ain't never got to ask or work for food. They got turtles and stuff living longer than you, slow, but for show. Living longer than you. So then what's aging you out is this particular thing that I'm telling you about. So now, since we are coming from the air, being born into the water, the only way to return back to your natural essence is return back to the air quality within you, which is the spirit, which is the mind, which is this feminine thing, which is the right side, which is everything that we've been talking about, but just in another way that we're going to talk about it today. Okay, so now with this air in effect, then you must understand that this is an age-old battle that's been talked about since the beginning of time between two things, and it is between Uranus versus Saturn. Okay, Uranus versus Saturn. Now, in your book, it's going to be Jesus versus the devil. It can be God versus the devil. It can be good versus evil. It can be bad versus be right versus wrong. However you talked about it. But when we first got the story of something going against another, something creating enmity, separation between the natural flow of nature, was Uranus against Saturn. Now, had a baby. So Uranus was considered the godfather, the first god. When you're talking about Jehovah, if you're talking about the God, you're really talking about Uranus. And when you're talking about the son of God, you're really talking about Saturn, okay? The son of God being Saturn. Now, I ain't finna go no deeper than that because I know that ain't what y'all here for, but I'm trying to tell you that this is the first story. Now let's break this on down even further, and you'll realize that Godfather is going to represent what they call Kairos, okay? And the Saturn, the son of God, represents what they call Chronos. Somebody put that in the chat for me, please. Kairos versus Chronos, okay? These are two different types of time, and I got to teach you this because I got to get you to understand that they've been learning this and they've been trying to perfect this, and it's our time to do it. There's always been an understanding of this being two types of ways to capture time. This battle was because this godfather had a baby that wanted to take over the throne. Saturn represents the time in which we are under. The Am I still frozen? Are we back? Look like I'm back on YouTube here. It looks like I'm back on YouTube. Put some ones in the chat if y'all can hear me, see me clearly. Look like I'm back on YouTube. Put some ones in the chat if y'all can see. This is what they don't want y'all to hear when we start talking about the real stuff. The real stuff, okay? As long as we talking about that hoo-foo and foo-foo, they all right with it because it's debatable. But when you start talking about that real stuff, that's what they don't want, okay? But we're going to keep on trucking you guys. Make sure that you keep tapping and I'll keep talking. Make sure to engage and stay interactive in order for this thing to get out to the masses of people. Because, again, I don't want you to always be dependent on me being here in some form of fashion. I want you to get this stuff, get to know this stuff, and understand the truth about what they're teaching you, okay? We'll get to know the truth. It ain't nothing but limitations. Every point and cycle in our evolution, we came to an intellectual, I would say, lull or intellectual stagnation, okay? And so just like I told you before in the market game, every now and then the trend starts to stagnate. Every now and then the trend will start to get into a slow moving positioning. That's just where we are creatively, intuitively at this point. But there is about to be a breakthrough as much as we continue to keep talking about this age-old understanding of the two times. Because what I'm trying to get you to understand is how to capture Kairos and then understand the difference between Chronos. Understanding that you can capture the now, you can capture the moment. And in capturing the now and capturing the moment is when you can seize and be able to break through obstructions and interference within your body, not only just psychologically, but also physiologically. I've told you over and over and over how your mind looks in your brain, which is in that hypothalamus, gray matter, because even though yesterday I didn't even tell y'all that, but the gray matter sits right in front of your optic, what is that? Optic chiasm or your optic chiasm? Right? That optic chiasm is your eyesight. So before you see something, it has to go through this dark matter. Before you see something, before something comes in, the image is in the lighthouse. The image is in the theater. The theater of the moment enough for you to tell what's going on, for you to make a decision of what you got to do. See, nobody ever thought about what goes on before I fight or I flight. How do I know that I'm scared? How do I know that I'm angry? So you never looked at it. So again, we teach you about the human design and the human frame so that you can be well on your way. You can't heal yourself if you don't know how this shit works. So you got to be able to put your mechanic hat on when dealing with the body. You got to be able to put your doctor suit on when dealing with your body. You got to be able to put your pastor suit on when dealing with you. You got to be able to put your financier, your banker suit on when dealing with you. You got to be able to put your love suit on when dealing with you. See, you got to put the suit on. We can show you how. So now, as you understand this age-old thing between Kairos, the moment, breaking of structure, the breaking of roboticism, the breaking of the zombie type of life, the breaking of the status quo, the breaking of normality. Uranus is coming. The age of Aquarius is coming to break down the status quo. All of the systems, all of the religious systems, the banking systems, all of life as you know it would be broke. Slowly but surely, all of these prisms of thoughts, prisons of consciousness, of social engineering and genetically modified organisms training will be broken down, because that's just the time that you're in. God is back into control. And when God gets into control, there's going to be a breakthrough where a messenger will come in and say, look, time is a veil. Yes, time is a thing to where you can start to coordinate your life. You'll start to prioritize, and you'll start to compartmentalize your life. That's a good thing and a bad thing, because now you start to get into your little world. Come on, Byron. You come in here and you grab hold of time, and then you start to create your little world. And then slowly but surely, you start to walk further from the garden. Slowly but surely, further from the source. Slowly but surely, further from the instructions and the understanding and the owner's manual or the manufacturing plan on your particular model of human species. So now you don't know how to operate you, but you out here in the world with free will. That's why they don't want you to live long. That's why death is imminent, because you out here with all of this power and you're reckless. Therefore, you should have a short life. I'm just speaking at high TIL. You out here with all of this power when you need it. And you don't always have to be in trouble to call on God. You don't always got to be at the last hour to make something pop in your life. So we got to teach you how to do this while living, instead of what they were trying to do it from the deathbed. They were trying to show you how everlasting life looked from a dream, because nobody else had came back from the life. Ain't nobody everlasting. So what you seen on the walls and what you hear in a story ain't nothing but man's mind, mentality, imagination. Remember the image that comes into that dark matter. Remember that your eyesights cross over right at the beginning of the particular mitochondria. Let me show you this, what I'm talking about. So I got some receipts for y'all. I ain't playing with you another day. These folks don't want me to do it, but I got to do it. Look at that gray matter, the hypothalamus, okay? But look right below the hypothalamus, you see the optic chiasm, okay? The optic chiasm, which means that that's where your eyes start to do its thing at. So it's dark matter happening before your eyesight going out, and it's dark matter looking at that thing before it comes in. I'm just showing you where to see. I'm just showing you where to see. You see? So you're understanding that these images are happening in that theater to create the action or the response to the environmental stimuli. Okay? It's happening in that dark matter at the hypothalamus. So the brain is one functioning organ, but then the mind is somewhere else. And we've been able to find, in my opinion, I've been able to find where the mind is at and it's happening in that area. But at the same time, you do have to deal with that biologically as well as psychologically. So you got to be able to have a program, which is why it's so important to get your owner's manual to be able to show a person how to deal with that area of life biologically and also psychologically. High blood pressure don't deal with that. Metformin and high blood sugar don't deal with that. Your thyroid medication don't deal with that. Your pills for autoimmune disease don't deal with that. Your chemotherapy don't deal with that. Your radiation don't deal with that. Right? And so then what you're getting is not a full service. So then why would you pay all of that insurance? Why would you pay all of this thousands of dollars? Why would you pay all of this money when the insurance is in assuring me that I'm back into the correct balance of nature? Again, that's why the owner's manual is the most important information that you can have into your disposal. So as you understand and you see this, then you'll understand why time and aging is the problem, because we're still under Saturn. When Saturn has no more rule, you're in Uranus now. Now, think about what I just said just then. Uranus is in control. Saturn has no more rule. The Son of God has no more rule because the Godfather is back in control. Now, some of y'all ain't gonna like that, but the Son of God has no more rule because God the Father is back in reign. What this means is that now time is about to lose its control, and then Kairos, moments, the now, the present, that life is really trying to give you anyway. The present is in the presence. The present of life is being in the present. Remember, I told you that the best thing you can do with time is to be a good steward of it. How do you be a good steward of time? Being conscious. What is the definition of conscious? Being present in the moment. And now you're creating a different time. You ever wonder why a moment feels like a lifetime? And you ever understood why a minute feels like everlasting? It's our consciousness being able to bend time. Your mind must be back under control. Okay, you got to get your mind back under control. So the reason why we're aging is because we're still under this particular chronos. We're still clocking into life. So you can't be everlasting. And even though you're reading about these subject matters, you haven't made the correct spiritual understanding to make the correct change, because your life is still under time. You can say all day, it said, look, the Bible tell you that words, he said the lips will always give me some service, but it ain't in lip service that's I'm be looking for. It's in your life. How did you break through time? How did you seize the moments? How did you stay in the presence? How did you be able to evolve? And that's what I tried to tell y'all yesterday. You don't have to have money to have a great life. You just have to with nature. You don't have to have everybody around you to have a great life. You just need to be in tune with nature. You don't have to have all of this shit to have this life experience. If you can get in tune with nature, you'll see things will move in your favor regardless of the things that you think you don't have. So let's not focus on the lack. Let's focus on the asset in which we come in with. As long as you got life, let's start there. And so at the end of the day, it is how we teach each other about life. And every time you came in, every life has been attached to death. And that's why life don't mean shit, because there's an end to it, even though in the middle of it, you're trying to tell me that there's a continuation of it. So why do I have to enjoy this thing, enjoy it with everything that I have? Because nobody really has a functioning understanding of body preservation. So therefore, you look at the sex down the third, and you think, oh, okay, I as a man should do. But what about a demigod? Okay, a demigod is a half man, half God. Now, a demigod being a half man, half God, which is what you claim to be. I'm just talking about what you claim to be. Now, I ain't even talking about what you said and done. I'm just telling you what you claim to be. So now a demigod is a man and a God in one body. Now, the one thing that a demigod got is immortality. Okay, so from the God part of the demi, he got immortality. Okay, immortality. Now, from the demi part of the God, he has an ability to procreate or produce. Okay? He got an ability to reproduce with the women. You know how these movies is. So the physical part of him, he can sleep with other women and have more gods. And then the spiritual part of him is that he ain't never got to die. So I can reproduce from the physical. The lower self is for reproduction, and the higher self is for reproduction on a whole nother level. See, the extension of life in one end and the creation of life in the oh my goodness. I don't be knowing where it come from either, y'all. That's why you got to stay tuned, because I'm teaching you live how to tap in and out of the spirit, how to tap in and out of facts and faith, how to tap in and out of intellect and intuition. And the ones who understand this is the ones who are intuitively sound. Okay? Because we're teaching you that if you claim to be half God and half human, you have the ability to get in contact with immortality, just like you got the ability to reproduce. You just don't know how to do it. Okay? And if you're made in the image of God, then you're made in the image of this magnificent brain, this magnificent life force. Okay? And this magnificent life force is everlasting. This is infinity if you can't see the sign. This is also the Ankh, which means the life force. This is also the cross and resurrection and all these things you've been learning about. You're seeing it right here, right? So the bottom line is that if you are made in the image of the all-living mind, the all-living life force, then why can't you attach yourself to eternal life? You know why? You know why? Because you have been misled on your lower self. And your lower self is keeping you captive to the time boat. Okay? Because your lower self is the animalistic part of you. It's the basic instinct part. So you're staying in your animalistic state. Okay? You're staying there because you want to. You have free will to bend this to what you wanted to do. All the other animals don't have that, but you do as a human species. All the other animals ain't got no choice to be a bird's life. All the other animals ain't got no choice but to be an ant's life, a bee's life. And they ain't got no choice but to be a rat's life, a mouse life, a cat's life, or a dog's life. They ain't got no choices until they come into human contact. So the only other thing that has a choice is contact, and you're making the choice to stay in your animalistic without understanding this side of you, the God side. So therefore, in this particular sector, this lower self, we've demonized this lower self. We've called it the wrong part of us, the devil part of us, the evil part of us, the part of us that needed to be suppressed, oppressed, depressed. It needed to be sacrificed. It needed to be killed. And that's what the ancient people have taught over the years. And that's the part where they were wrong. Because the more they devalued the body, yes, they got to a spiritual heighten, but that ain't the only way you got to do that. You don't have to die to get to spiritual enlightenment. You don't have to die to get into heaven. These places are not real places in coordinations and times and locations. These things are states of being. They were states of being. They're states of consciousness. So heaven is a state of mind. Hell is a place to go as far as a location that you're going to be in, but it is a place to go in your mind. And when you get diagnosed and when you get in a relationship that doesn't work, and when you get put into an impoverished situation, your mind tends to stay in hell with the condition. And when your mind is in the condition with the body, then there are two things in one space creating the same. You need a positive, negative. You can't create with two positives, just like you can't create with two negatives, because they don't create a charge and will not create a change. And this is all the way down to the atomic structure of your being, that we understand that there's a proton, an electron, and a neutron. And so you must understand that when I just told you about Uranus and Saturn, there was another one called Gaia. So you got a positive and a negative and a neutral. And when we're talking about pseudo-neuroimmunology, we're teaching you about the nervous system, the endocrine system, and we're teaching you about your immune system. There goes again a positive, a negative, and a neutral. And so you'll see that this trinity is the thing that creates power. It creates charge. It creates change. So what you're missing is, yes, you got some positive things happening in your life, and yes, you got some negative things happening in your life, but what comes the neutral? What comes the natural? You need something to ground all of that. All of that opposite energy needs some grounding. It needs a neutral is always there to make sure it don't burn down the house. The neutral is always there to make sure that nothing catches on fire. The neutral is always there to make sure that the opposition has something to ground it, to make sure that it ain't nothing overexerted or underexerted. The neutral is always there to balance out the two opposites. So there's always got to be where there's two or three gathered in my name, I'm in the midst, because that creates the trinity of being able to create the charge that then creates the change. But now you guys are having positive things happening in your life, negative things happening in your life, but you ain't got no neutrality. They either all for you or they all against you. Your ideas are either all extreme the good way or all extreme the bad way. Where is your neutrality? So you get cancer, you get all distraught. Neutral. Can't say anything. Body been healing itself. Pockets get broke, you get all up in it. Now you want to go rob, you want to go kill, and you want to go be in the prison. Neutral, pimp, hold on. Shit changes. You ain't got to go. You finna go change your life for the bad, creating a negative with a negative, when you could have just wait to the opportunity. But you got to be discerning enough, and you have to be in a place enough in your mind and spiritually sensitive enough to catch the opportunity when it comes. Yeah, you keep missing your opportunity because you're not discerned enough. Everything ain't gonna happen in your intellect, which means that everything ain't gonna happen based on what you know. There's some shit that gonna happen in life based off some stuff you didn't know, and you got to be able to know that stuff too in order to be able to move through this paradigm in an ease of flow. Otherwise, time and aging is going to be the end result to your situation. Either somebody else is going to kill you out of time, or either you're going to age out. Or you're going to kill yourself out of time, or you're going to age out. You got to know how to seize Kairos. Seize the moment. The moment is now. The moment is now for you to get back onto your feet, health-wise, wealth-wise, relational, social-wise. The moment is now. The owner's manual can help you. If you're interested in your owner's manual, please DM us. We'll get you the information that you need. But the moment is now. We got to teach you about how to get into the presence of the now. A lot of you guys can solve y'all problems, but you got to be able to mentally focus and concentrate well enough to be in the now. Focus on your breathing. Focus on your drinking. Focus on your thinking. Focus on your feelings. Focus on these things that make you who you are. You got to be able to do that to change your paradigm. You don't have to depend on the medical facility, because if they don't have this anyway, they ain't doing you no justice. But you still need to know how to heal yourself, take care of yourself. Just because you ain't going to the hospital don't mean that you don't need something. You got to have something. So then put the information about you back into your own hands, and that's what the owner's manual is all about. So this time and this aging, okay? Remember that it is brought on by the stress of time, by the breathing, okay? By the breathing. Remember that as infants and all of that stuff on the breathing pattern of everybody. It may not allow me to pull this up, but let me see. Yeah, it want to let me pull that up, right? I got receipts on breathing. So as you are infant, a toddler, you're breathing between 30 times a minute to 25 times a minute to 20 times a minute to down all the way to 12 to 15 times a minute. So you see that as a baby, you're breathing faster because you're needing to mature, age. And then you'll see that as you're aging, literally, as you're growing, you're trying to slow down. So you're starting to slow down your breathing. Well, then guess how you slow down aging? Slow down your breathing. But you can't just slow down your breathing just because I said that. Your life has to be conducive of slow down breathing. That means you can't shit popping out on you, popping out of nowhere. And the only way you're not gonna have stuff popping out of nowhere and popping out on you is that you have to be more spiritually discerned, and you have to connect into this intuitive side. And again, you have to get out of time and get into the present moment of the now, and you'll start seeing your spiritual powers come to more flourishing. That's all I'm teaching you. Okay, what say you? Any questions thus far? What say you? Any question thus far? What say you? Is the internet working pretty good? Is everybody on the program? What's going on YouTube? Love your company. Love your company, YouTube. Love your company. What's going on? What's going on? Any questions thus far? You guys keep tapping out, keep talking. You guys keep tapping out, keep talking. If the internet doing us bad today, don't worry about it. We'll cut it short. We'll come back tomorrow. Same back time, same back channel tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we ain't worried about social media trying to hold the word down, because we know that the revolution won't be televised. So as you try to revolve, that won't be televised, but we can start to televise the evolution. I'm not a part of the revolution. I'm a part of the evolution of it. Okay? We're not a part of the revolution. We're part of the evolution. So we don't care. We're going to get it out anyway. When I opened up, it was the most scariest thing I ever been through. Yeah, but it was also the most, it should have been the most, I would say, freeing experience that you would ever go through as well. Right? So sometimes that happen, right? So we can be able to control this breathing. You got to have contentment and peace with the changing environment of the earth. Your world, you're trying to make everything be robotic. You're trying to go to work at the same time, see this man at the same time, at the same dinners at the same time, kids at the same time. Your parents had it, graduated at the same time. Your uncle them did. You're trying to do all this shit at the same time. That's not how life is designed. Life is a conclusive pattern, an enclosed pattern of changes. But you want to create a permanent world in changing environmental earth. And so it's very difficult for you to get in tune with nature when your dreams and your will is against the patterns of nature. And that's why I try to tell y'all, do you really know God? Do you really know the will of God? Do you really understand that there was an abundance and a freeness that comes with God's will that's different from man's will and man's world? Okay, and more you learn about nature, you'll see the everlasting component that nature, that earth has, that man's world doesn't have. And I'm saying, who are we learning from? Man, or are we learning from nature? Jesus Christ died on the cross and got rose again. You look at that as somebody physically going into the casket and literally got his ass back up after 3 days and rose again. So now you're looking at that as an impossible feat in the physical body. But the reality of it is that the sun has never died. The actual son of God in the planet has never died. It never went black, never went dark, never went cold. But you can perceive that if your ass don't know about nature well enough, that when it get nighttime, you'll think that the sun shut off on you. When it get winter time, you'll think that the sun ain't in your favor or don't work. It's because you're just getting in tune with nature. You're just learning. And that's why I said, beginning this particular video, that it is man's limitations of information. It is your responsibility as a 2025 civilian or species on the planet to continue to move, thrust the things forward instead of trying to continue to come and regurgitate up limited information. It is your duty to extend that. We ain't got to stop at where they stop at and say they got the truth. No, you extend that by putting your truth on top of their truth to find out the real truth. Do you know how to research? Do y'all really know how to learn? You don't uphash something 400 years ago and think that these folks got the shit from 400 years afterwards. No, it's what they knew 400 years ago. There's a limitation on the information. You keep adding on. We can't stop at what they knew and think that's what it is about life. You think that's what it is? No, it's a limitation on that's what they knew at that moment. You can't afford to know more, which is why they said that you should do greater works because your ass should be able to learn from death to death should at some point extend life. Everybody's death at some point should extend your life. Do we understand the quality of the information that you're getting? Everybody's death should at some point, if you're learning, extend your life, if nothing else. And so we're using all of our ancestors' valuabilities and all of our ancestors' opinions and facts and science and research to continue to add on to that dynamic and say, you guys were learning something and you were on to something, but you didn't finish, and it's our job to figure out what you couldn't figure out. And it's how to live forever. And just start looking back at the earth dynamic to really unravel and unreveal the truth. Okay. And the truth is the sun never dies, the water never dies, the air never dies, the earth never dies. And if you can get into a consciousness while living, you can never die too. But that's going to mean body preservation. Because the die that we know, that we've been taught, is when the body dies, that your body was going to, because they've already said to you that your spirit lives forever. But the thing about it is, without the human senses, you don't have that spirit. You won't know it the same way that you know it now. The way you know spirit is through your human social engineering. We're being taught intellect. Know it until you die, but you don't get to come back to explain if we was right or wrong. So my point to you is that when you leave your human senses, that death feels different. It ain't what you think it is. Your conception of death is why you living. But tell me how that motherfucker feel when you die. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you lose your human senses when you die. So it ain't the same understanding in the spirit world with the human living talking about the spirit world versus the dead talking about the spirit world. So you just blowing smoke as you don't know what's beyond that veil. You don't know what's beyond death. So why are we even headed there? Because we thought that death is another portal. We felt like death is another life lesson. We felt like death is an extension of this natural progression. And what I'm saying is, who dies? It's a tree standing out in front of your yard right now that's going to lose its leaves and everything when fall comes, but the tree don't fall over and die. That tree in your front yard, in front of your apartments, in front of your house, when the leaves gonna fall, but that tree ain't gonna fall over. That some bitch still living, and then the next year the leaves gonna come back. But now between that time, you could have got shot and dead. So what's dying really in nature? But you. It's because you're not in tune with this dynamic. Okay, we're not in tune with this dynamic. Do you believe in reincarnation? No, I just told y'all that on my feed. But the point is about that, Donnie or Danny, is that if you are continuously coming back, so I do want to speak on that because I'm finna make a very big point, and I hope that this get recorded on TikTok and YouTube. I'm finna make a very big point right here, very, very big point right here. You have two ways to experience everlasting life. Okay, I want y'all to put this into your Rolodex, right? You have two ways to experience everlasting life. Okay, off of what this sister just asked me about. You have two ways to experience everlasting life. If you keep being reincarnated, then that's everlasting life, right? Because your ass gonna keep coming back. So that's one way. So you can experience life because you keep failing and keep dying, or you can experience everlasting life because you figure out the key and you never experience death. And throughout recorded history, there was only two people that didn't experience death: Enoch and Elijah. So my point to you is that if you're looking at the symbology of what these things mean, it's only telling us that there is a way for us to significantly get into tune between our cerebral and our physical body, right? Between our mind and our bodies, and some kind of supernatural being. Just think about what we've already done. All this, look at what world you already built with what you have. Your only confusion is this extension of life. It's the reason why that's going to keep that dark for us. Because although you can be very good in a lot of aspects on this earth, you also can be very consumptive and very addictive and very abusive with. So I tend to elude 99.9% of us because it's an abusive or an addictive state that can come behind this knowledge. So you have to be a totally transformed individual to even get a snapshot of it. And by then, most of us are at an age too old. We age out, we time out, we stress out of the paradigm. Okay. So these people on the planet before us, our ancestors, have been tapping in and out of this consciousness throughout time and started to understand that this shit got something to it because they had been told that that's how some of the old people before them made it through. Hey, we didn't know what to do here. We were like Harriet Tubman in the Underground Railroad. We didn't know where to go. But we just get consciousness and follow the stars. And that's how we started the Underground Railroad. And so therefore, this thing becomes your intuitive side. That's why if you ever saw the Harriet Tubman movie, she went into a trance and started following the stars because she was starting to get into her spiritual intuitiveness of following the cosmos. It's a connection with heaven in a whole different dynamic than having been a connection with a book. And I'm telling you that you need to be connected with nature in order to resemble a relationship with God. And it's not in being in a connection with a book or a building. Your connection with God ain't in your affiliation with the people on Sunday. Your connection with God is how well you treat nature. Your nature and nature is you can't claim to know it if you can't preserve nature and conserve nature and get a consciousness about its presence here in your life. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing. It ain't gonna happen for you. It ain't gonna happen for you. All right. The duality though, light and shadow. Yes. I follow the dark instead. Okay. Light brings the sin out of us and surface them. Okay. I don't know if I fully agree, but I get where you're trying to go with it. But I don't believe in sins and all that type of stuff as well. Right? Because it ain't nothing but ignorance as far as your tendencies. There ain't no sin. The sin is you don't know thyself. And so you're gonna start doing things out of ignorance of thyself. So the sin is the ignorance. And that's what I said. Death is the failure. And that's why you can do this two ways. You can have everlasting life out of your ignorance and keep coming back and keep being reborn and reincarnated because of your ignorant state of what this life means. Or you can get it while you're in life and then extend your life while during your living. How can you extend your life during your living? How many people have extended their life during their living? How many people have healed themselves? I healed myself 2013 of ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disease. I'm supposed to be on medication for the rest of my life. I took early months, never took medications, and don't have the symptoms that I never did back then. How can you extend your life? If some of y'all ain't never extended your life, so you don't know how it is. So that's why I try to tell you, Pastor, don't try to preach over me when you ain't extended your own life. Doctor, don't try to doctor on me when you ain't extended your own life. Banker, don't try to tell me nothing on social media when you ain't rich in your own life. Don't try. See, I ain't got time for somebody trying to practice on me. Practice on yourself. That's why we offering the owner's manual. The owner's manual is for you. You can't go out. See, if I had a class for you to learn this so that you could try to be an herbalist and try to get this out to the world, you would really want that, huh? But hell no, this is for you. You can't heal nobody. You got to heal you. People heal themselves. I healed myself, and so I'm a living witness on TV right here every day, screaming at the top of my lungs that the shit is possible because I did it for myself. And that's what we're trying to get you to do. Your owner's manual is for you to heal yourself. It ain't for you to heal your cousin. You can't heal your mama them with it. You can't heal your uncle them with it. It ain't for you to try to start no practice on. This owner's manual is for the owner. But when you learn that it's possible within you, that's when the message can spread. We got to teach you about you before you going out here trying to, I want to know herbalism. Somebody the other day told me I'm a healer too. If you're a healer, then you better heal yourself. You asking me to heal you. Y'all got to watch what you're saying and watch what you're doing. That's why I be trying to tell y'all, don't ask me for help, because I ain't asked you for help when I was in my way. So I don't want to give you no help, because I don't want you to give me none when I was coming. I wanted to get it because it was a signature that this was mine. But you want a mentor. You want me to mentor you. You want to be my mentee. I didn't have no mentor mentee. So therefore, you're only going to be at best a carbon copy of me. But what about you being yourself? You could have been the first you. Instead, you wanted to settle out to be the second me. Listen and understand these teachings. Colors convey meanings, whether you like it or not, media or no media. Batten, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I guess you don't found me on your feed and you wanted to say something today. But you don't know me, man. I'll cuss your ass out, okay? But I'm just telling you, we're gonna let you speak now, but watch what you're talking about. Okay? I don't mind you speaking, but watch what you're talking about. When I see red, I don't think about shit, but I love the color red. I see red and think beauty. You may see red and think stop, but I see red and think beauty. Red is it's the signature to beauty to me is red. Red lipstick, a red dress, red shoes. All that means beauty to me. So Batten, you're talking to the wrong person. I mean, you're on the elementary level of what you're trying to get over here going on. What you think when you see red? You thought I was gonna say a stop sign? Could. That's the elementary stuff, man. You go over there and start your own channel with that. Okay? You see what I'm saying? But my point to you is that I don't see the same things that you see the same way. So therefore, when you come to a platform like mine, we need to be connected on the same level from what I'm speaking more than I need to be connected on the same level as far as what you speaking. And so what I was telling you a while ago is that it's not as cut and dry as you would like for it to be. All things that's dark ain't bad, and all things that's light ain't good, and all things that's red don't mean stop. And so once you start going deeper and stop getting out of the elementary school of consciousness, then when you come to a level of show like this here, you know to be quiet. And that's why you don't see a lot of people questioning, because they know to be quiet. Okay? They know who they're talking to. So you got to have a level of depthness. I don't mind you guys coming in and speaking your stuff. I'm going to always allow you to do it. I will never block you. That's one thing you ain't got to worry about. We'll never block you. But what we want you to understand is how to open up instead of limit, how things got to be so narrow. If it's so narrow, will nobody be able to do it. If it's so fucking cut and dry, nobody will be able to do it. And it's not that cut and dry. Places that we need to go, a white man can get in there, a rich man can get in there, a poor man can get in there, a black man can get in there, an African can get in there, a Mexican can get in there, American can get in there. The places that we got to go, it doesn't require this goddamn secret access key code that you got to be the Israelite, or you got to be the Jews, or you got to be this to access this shit. No, you just got to be conscious. Consciousness is the key to what we're really trying to go to, and everybody has the ability to get that. That ain't about rich or poor. That ain't about black or white. That ain't about language. That ain't about region of the planet. That's about, can you get to this level in your particular dispensary of coming into this paradigm? Again, you came from the womb of the mind, out from the mother's spine of the womb of the body. Now your whole job is to go back home, which means that you have to find a way to be reborn, not through the death of the body, but through the death of the mind. It's not about killing your body. It's about killing the mind. And the mind comes in with a world that it wants to create of its own because it has a God conscious, because that was made in the image of God. You came in with a God conscious. So you're not going to be very happy at relinquishing your power over to nature when you can cook your own food. Why the fuck would you wait for a week to a month to a year for an orange to grow? If you can goddamn do your own thing, why would you wait, or why would you walk all the way mile or 2, 5 miles to go to a motherfucking lake or a spring when you can create bottled water? If you got to understand, if this is what's happening and this is what's causing you dis-ease. And what we're trying to do, that your will is fighting against the will for your life. And you don't know the will for your life because the pastor don't know, so they didn't tell you. Your mom and daddy don't know, so they didn't tell you. So you're struggling trying to be like LeBron. You're trying to be like the community people. You're trying to be like your parents. But there's a design for you. And you don't nobody know that it's in your owner's manual. It came with your birthday. And for that funky, measly little $50, we can give you that information. We don't need a hair sample. We don't need a blood type. We don't need a urine sample, a stool sample. We don't need any of this fleeting temporary information. You have a time tag and a toe tag coming in, and that time stamp is going to be your birthday. We take that information back to nature. It spits out your location, your tendencies, and all the remedies that are necessary for you to be able to get back in tune with nature. Okay? Let me see what else somebody said right here. What's going on, you guys? What's going on? I thought I had missed somebody right there said something. Okay, so now understanding that, now we got to get back into this Kairos. Okay, so Kairos is the time that we want to be able to obtain. Kairos is the time that we want to be able to capture. Okay, Kairos is the time that we want to be able to capture. Now, because of this age of Aquarius, because of Uranus breaking up all of Saturn's structure, all of Saturn's limitations, all of Saturn's time structure, Uranus is coming in and breaking that up. Uranus is coming in and being rebellious against that structure, rebellious against those systems, rebellious against these things that used to be able to just go on. Everybody was okay with it years ago. Now Uranus, the age of Aquarius, came in and started to shake up and move the foundations that these things were under. Why? Because fire is going to try everything you build. It said if it's tried by fire and if it exists, then we know it's made by God. Okay, so you got a lot of things that are coming to your life and are try your establishments. There are finances that came into your relationship and broke your relationship up because it wasn't made by God. There are things that came into your life and made you sell your home and lose your car because that house and that car wasn't designed by God. There's going to be things that you're going to build in your world that's going to be tried by fire. That means that it's going to tell you which one is God. Is it your God or is it the God? Is it your ideal or is it the will of God's things for your life? And you will see that the things that you keep missing out on is your ideal for your life. And it ain't God's ideal for your life. And nature, the owner's manual, a pastor before. I've been a pastor before. I understand what I full well am saying here on this goddamn thing to you today. And I'm trying to get you to understand that there's another way to teach the message. And that way is to be able to really surely extend your life in more ways than just talking to you. We got to be able to facilitate this in the way that you eat, in the way that you think, in the way that you feel, and in the way that you drink life into your system. And that's what we're trying to get you to understand, that it's more than just talking to the people, that out of the mouth of babes come the remedy for life. And everything ain't just about prayer. Everything ain't just about intellect. Everything ain't just about go and write it down. Everything ain't just about go and wait on it. You got to do some things to be able to pull these things together. And this symbiotic relationship between you can break through into a different time zone if we can get you to focus in the moment. Don't let cancer get you going all over the place. Don't let dialysis get you thrown all over the place. We understand how you can get thrown all over the place, but don't let divorce get you thrown all over the place. Don't let these failures in your world, because the only reason you're dealing with this particular type of experiences is because of your intuition, your discernment ability ain't good enough. God does not want you to have a bad 5 husbands and a bad 15 men and a bad 15 baby daddies and a bad 15 jobs. And it's because of your discernment that those things been bad. And because of God, it's because of your lack of knowledge of how you are designed. And you won't learn discernment. God damn it, y'all won't learn discernment. You won't learn discernment. And therefore, you can't stop before it's too late. Therefore, you can't stop before it's too late. So therefore, you're going to come into these bad experiences. But it's because the lack of knowledge of the God in you. You won't go over into this intuitive side of life and let this shit help you. You so masculine energy that you got to be logical and figure everything out. But every problem that arises, every environmental stimuli that comes your way ain't going to be something that you've dealt with before. So that means you got to have something else in you that can deal with things you've never done with before. And that's your discernment. When the brother coming so smooth, you don't know that he's a demon behind the date. When the job coming so good and the money so good, you don't know that there's death behind the 20 years that you putting into the job. You don't know. And Noah, we talked to you guys yesterday about who Noah was. There's such thing as a flood. There was a flood of emotions. And Noah was the knower of the emotions, the knower of that time, that flood of emotions. So Noah is talking about a ship. The ship is, I told y'all about staying in the boat. So who better to be able to weather the storm of emotions other than the person that knows? Knows how to balance the waters. So you must understand these things coming into your paradigm, that it's always been an attack on the mind. But the mind is your most powerful source of energy that you have. Your body is powerful, but your mind is just as powerful. And if your mind can make your thing come up watching naked movies and naked people, then your mind can do some other things in your body. If your mind can make you wet and he ain't even over there yet, then your mind can do some other things inside of you. All you look at is that sexual energy and those sexual abilities, but you don't see how the mind can do more than rise up these organs, to lubricate these organs. If your mind can do that, your mind can do more to your organs than you think. I use those as an example because that's everybody gonna know about them. And if your mind can move those things without nobody touching you, then your mind can do these things that we're teaching you about. Any questions? Boom, right there like that, man. Right there like that. See, when I bring that type of example out, there is no debate in what I'm trying to teach you. When I bring out that particular thing, there is no debate in what I'm trying to teach you. That there is a chemical fluctuation of things happening mentally to make a physiological rise in your nature. Ain't nobody touched you. You think that your sexual organ is the only thing that work with them? No, sir. But we got to get you back in what that requires, because when that happens, you're in dopamine, you're in oxytocin, you're in this pleasure moment, you're in this open moment for love, this open moment for arousal. But we got to get you to be in that open moment for the earth, not just for nakedness, for the preservation of earth, not just for porno, for the conservation of earth, not just for your sexual satisfaction. And if we can get you to be aroused and get you to be in dopamine and pleasure and get you to be in love and in bliss with life itself instead of just nakedness, then that's when we can raise up in concentration. That takes effort and sacrifice. But it's when you get that type of love, when you get that type of connection that seeps out of you, that type of arousal, that type of pleasure, that type of love endowment for life itself, then there's power in that. See, some of y'all ready to die. So you already drinking yourself to death, smoking yourself to death, living, working, sexing, yourself, eating, you already, but I'm talking about a love for life that makes you aroused and be more engaged in an intimacy with nature, with the God that you claim that you love. See, I'm telling you, I used to do this in the church. I switched it up because y'all don't know what it is. That Bible got you too thrown out. It needs to be taught in a different way. Same story, but in a different way, because y'all done got too lost in the sauce. And it's too many of y'all think y'all know what you're talking about, and you're losing people generations after generation. Is getting too numb to the story. You can't get numb to that story. That story is supposed to knock you off your feet every single time you hear about it, because it's supposed to be energizing you and telling you about the power that you possess within. But what's happening is that now the story is being told so egregiously, so ugly, that you leave out thinking about somebody else. And the worth of the teacher is for everybody to either leave out thinking about Jesus or leave out thinking about themselves. And if you as a pastor can get your congregation to leave out thinking about themselves, you taught that lesson right. But if you got everybody leaving out thinking about Jesus, you taught the lesson wrong. Okay? It should be a reflection. It's a story about reflection. Story about reflection. What's going on, LaTanya? What's going on, Miss Allen? What's going on? Wake up, wake up, wake up. Keep tapping. I'll keep talking. Y'all done got a little low on me today. Now we got to keep tapping. I know they tried to buffer my live and everything like that, but we appreciate all hundreds or so of you guys that have stayed and partake in the blessings of this particular lesson today. We got to be able to get into this Kairos. This Kairos is about now. It's about the moment. And we got to be able to understand that this type of thinking, this type of understanding is going to be able to break us through the veil of time, break us through the separation of time, break us through the obstruction of time, break us through the interference that's causing us to get off channel or out of tune with nature. Is when we start to live in this Kairos and not in Chronos. Is when we stop clocking in to life. Stop going everything based on age. The way your baby eat is based on the teeth and not based on the age. If your baby got two front teeth, then that's telling the two front teeth is telling you the actual maturity of the digestive system. So when a baby got two front teeth, it's telling you that all that baby is equipped to do now is taste. And when the baby got two bottom teeth, it's telling you that now you can do a little chew. But then when they're telling you that it's got the back teeth, it's telling you that now it can go to bigger, heavier foods. So, but what you want to do, as soon as you see two teeth and the baby two, let's take them off this, let's put them on this. It ain't about age in the way that you think about it. So teeth tell you age, not age. The teeth tells you the maturity of the digestive system of a baby. So the reason why a lot of us babies are coming up with fucked up digestive system is because you're feeding the baby too early. Two teeth does not mean that it's ready to eat. Two teeth means it's ready to taste. Four teeth mean that it's able to chew, but not able to chew certain foods. It's still on soft foods. When you get your grinders or your molars, that's when the baby can start to handle hard foods. But it's only because those teeth are telling you that the digestive system is ready to handle a little bit more of egregious foods. The teeth is a optical visual view of something you can't see digestively. It ain't got nothing to do with the baby age. So you feed your baby and understand this digestive process by its teeth, not by its age. Okay? How do you control the mind? By being in the present moment. That means that you have to release whatever it is that's keeping you in the past or the present, right? So the past means depressed. The future means anxiety or worry, right? I like to use the word anxiety as a medical clinical term, but worry, right? So you either depressed or you worried. You either sad or you worried. You either mad or you worried, right? And so your brain, when it's depressed, mad, and sad about something that has happened, you're living in the past. Your mind is in the past. Now you could be in today, but you're thinking about yesterday. Okay. Now you could also be in today and be thinking about tomorrow, because you're worried about what the boss gonna say. You're worried about all the clothes you need to wash, what the kids need to do, this, that, and the third. So you here with me, beside me, but your mind is tomorrow. We doing this so often that you are now losing time. You're now in this situation where you don't understand about time. And remember that time is our currency. So when you don't have money, you have time. So in order to be a poor mind and a rich mind, we understand that ain't got nothing to do with money. A poor mind and a rich mind is he who understands the value of time. Poor-minded people tend not to be able to put a lot of time in. Minded people, you'll see, always disciplined enough to put their time and energy in the dream, in the thing that they're trying to develop, in the goal. So that's the separation of understanding that. So how to control your mind is how to be able to not allow yesterday or tomorrow to affect your today. How to control the mind is to be able to have the ability to not allow your yesterday or your tomorrow control your day. That means that if he made you mad yesterday, don't bring it into today. That means that if you think he gonna make you mad tomorrow, don't bring it in today. So if he cheated on you yesterday, but you still with him today, then value today that you with him. But don't use your today to be mad at him for yesterday and then think he gonna do it tomorrow. And then the brother ain't got to, he got to apologize for yesterday, and then you want to leave him because you feel like he gonna do it again. Then why be with him today? Because you're usurping your energy dealing with this person, because now your energy is making you be either in the past or the present, and you personally, he got you out of your mind. And that's what it literally means to be out of your mind. Girl, that nigga must be out of your mind. No, you must be out of your mind fucking with me, because that's what it is. You're out of your mind. So your present state of being, you don't recognize. You shouldn't be with me. You can't recognize you can't be with me because you in the past or you in the future. You can't recognize that you need to leave me today. Your ass need to be gone today, but you can't leave me today because you worried about tomorrow. As long as I got you worried about tomorrow, worried about me tomorrow, as long as I got you fussing about yesterday, your ass gonna be with me today. Understand the game of the mind. I ain't the only one that know this stuff. It's folks above us in different levels and different energies and principalities that know how to market to your reality. And you don't know thyself well enough. But folks that know you know, due to your ignorance, you're creating industry. Any other question? Bro, did I answer your question of how to control the mind? Okay. Did I answer your question of how to control the mind? You have to be cognizant of the moment that you're in. Create the moment. We can be sitting around each other and be out of mind and out of body, but create the moment. Me and my old lady, we do that all the time. We're learning each other. We're different age groups, but because we know this information, we can tap out of it. You know, somebody gonna say something that she know I'm gonna say something. Hey, Leon. Hey, goddamn Leon. We gotta get it, you know, and then we create the moments. And she knows, she's sensitive to that, and be like, okay, boom. So we create the moments. And then those moments are blissful and blissful because they're not conjugated up. They're not obligated. They're just about creating moments. All we want to do is you can be out of thinking of that moment in that moment because you ain't in it. And there's so many of us so robotic in our lives. We're clocking in. We're going to work every day. We're coming home. We're raising the kids. We're cooking food. Same foods the same week. Same places the same week, same thing the same week, same shit the same week, and you just get to where you're so numb that where you're actually going through that cycle, routine, out of body. Your body is doing it, but your mind ain't there. And in those times, it is very hard for a man to have a functional sexual life if he's in that moment. It is kind of a time for a woman to have a bad libido. She has, she don't want nothing because of what's going on. So it's very hard for us to tap in. See, sex make you tap into the moment, if y'all didn't know that. But now you done got sex so recreational that you can do that out of mind. I don't even know where the hell that's coming from. But if you take enough stuff, you can do that even out of the mind, right? But sex, if it wasn't recreational, it's supposed to be procreational, then there's an intent going in, and then there's a feeling that you're trying to feel. When me and my old lady have sex, we trying to feel in love. It ain't just about just doing poking holes. It's about feeling something. So you create those moments to do that. Now, if you robotic, you can't create those moments. You out of mind, out of body. You can't create those moments. The sex robotic, the nut robotic, the screaming and howling robotic. We got to be able to break through these things. Under the ancestors was under. The ancestors was never under Chronos, it was under Kairos. And you will see, like I told y'all before, the oldest people on the planet don't know their age. Some of the oldest people on the planet, you'll never know how old they are because they weren't living under age. They don't know their birthday. Birthday wasn't done back then, whatever the case may be. They didn't have their birthday. They got it mixed up, whatever. But they never lived under time. That's why they got so old. You keep tapping, I'll keep talking. So the internet keeps lagging, yes, because this is a subject that they don't want y'all to hear, man. So I do apologize for the lagging. It ain't nothing on my end. Our internet is working good, but it is sometimes when you come out with certain rhetoric, the algorithm is just not going to allow you to be able to sustain perfect connection through it. So that's why this subject is not about the intellectual side of you, but the intuitive side of you. If you anybody out there listening to me, if you're trying to intellectually get me, then you're never gonna get me. But if you are coming seeking something from the intuitive side of you, from the spiritual side of you, then I've already said enough for the people who are really with me. I've already done enough. There ain't nothing that the airways could do to block out those that are with me intuitively. Now, if intellectually you came here to learn, then maybe some of this static done got into your way of learning. Only have hundreds or so people, but I'm talking to the spiritually connected folk because I didn't have to be on here long for them. Okay, and it ain't nothing that TikTok or YouTube can do when I'm talking to those people. Okay, so it's okay. It's okay. Okay, it's okay. All I'm trying to teach you guys about is how to get out from up under this time stress. Okay, to decompress. You need to be able to be in a stress-free environment, right? It's okay for a little stress here and there. The stress of picking your orange off the tree, the stress of being able to climb the tree and get your coconut, the stress of being able to have to build your shelter and walk down to the lake to get your water. And those are only the stress that you should be enduring. And that's the stress of living in abundance. That's the stress of living in bliss. But it was never intended for you to be in a stress about capitalism, because it is the direct indicator of those who believe in the world versus those who believe in the earth. And again, I told you, man's world is different from God's earth. And when we're trying to teach you nature, we're not trying to teach you nature in the prism of a man's world. We're trying to teach you nature in the prism of God's earth, God's design for the earth. And if you start to learn those things, you'll start to see things you never saw before. We've been looking at life through the prism of man's world, man's eyes. It's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing. Said it wouldn't be nothing without a boy or a girl, or without a woman or a girl. And that's what it said. So at the end of the day, that is only a man's opinion. And that's what we've been receiving day in and day out. All the books, all the research is man's opinion. But when you gonna get your ass out here in nature and see God's opinion? And why do I got to come on here every day and beg you to do that? Through this goddamn TV screen. Why I got to come on here and beg y'all to do what you know you're supposed to been doing? It's because ain't nobody ever told you that this is what you're supposed to have been doing. And then you ask yourself, why? You know what I mean? Why am I not getting the proper amount of sunlight? Because you chasing that bag. That bag makes you who you are instead of God making you who you are. Nature already made you who you are. And you would be somebody without all of that makeup, without all of them clothes, if you didn't have on them red heel bottoms, if you didn't have on that wardrobe, if you didn't have on that jewelry, if you didn't wear none of them eyelashes and BBLs and breast implants and all this, if you didn't do none of that and you just was out here bucket naked, a natural man will see the beauty in you with his natural eyes. So you don't have to add on anything to yourself. But when you start to add on, you start to create your world and your perspective and your prism of thought. And it's okay because it's your free will. But when you get in trouble, owner's manual, DM us and we'll get you the information that you need, okay? It's okay. Everybody done walked away from the house, okay? It's just that you done got too far to where you can't find your way back home. Your flashlight, you can't find your way back. You done lost your scent. You lost your instincts back home. So therefore, you know, if you can't go back home, then something will take you home, aka death. If you can't go back home to your father's house that has many mansions, then you'll be out here poor. If you can't go back home to where you got all your brothers and sisters and all this, that, and the third waiting on you there, then you'll be out here lonely. See, everything you need in your, everything you want and need is back home. But when you out here in limited information and ignorance, trying to create a world like daddy's house, but you ain't got the skill set of daddy, then you can be out here living bad. And it's sad because when we get sick, we can't heal ourselves. That's a natural ability. It's sad that when we get broke, we can't get rich when nature has an abundance. It's sad that we see these things as our identity, that your world identifies you better than God's nature identifies you. So you don't want to be Shamika, how you was raised. So you start to put makeup on and wigs on and weave on, and now you Mika. Don't even want nobody to call you the shook. You don't change everything about you. So that's how you want to be in this world. That's fine. So you started walking away from your nature. You start walking away from home. You see? And some of us been walking so far for 70, 80, 90 years, walking away from home, that by the time you get into your feebleness, your debilitated state, your confused state, your ability to not be able to produce as much. So now you can't go out there and work. Now all your friends and family about gone away from here. So now you just can't go out and go get no husband at 90. So loneliness becomes a real thing. Poverty becomes a real thing. All these things become real as you age. Why? Because you didn't understand it before. So you come in as a baby of information and leave out as a baby of information. And we don't want y'all to do that. It's a sad time. Okay. Medications cannot get this mind thing correct. So all it's going to do is further injure the body as far as take away the life expectancy. Yeah, it might add on 20 years, but it took off 20. They might say, well, yeah, well, without the medications, you would have died last year. Fine. So you extended me for 10 years, but with the medication, I died 30 years before time. But you never know that because you don't understand the paradigm in which you live in. So we're trying to teach people about this mind's power. I'm trying to illustrate it very raw, very authentically, so you'll know what power that I'm talking about is that power of resurrection. that power of lubrication, then we understand that, okay, now I understand that he's trying to use something that makes us do that to make us do, yes. So now we kind of physiologically and biologically have been describing all this stuff and breaking all this stuff down to you for you to understand the effectiveness of the owner's manual, but also to try to get us off and up under this consciousness that is basically creating, I think, the root cause and the root problems anyway. What say you, man? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, man, we're going to go ahead and knock it off. If you don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and end it here. I appreciate all of you guys for your love and your concern and everything that you're doing to support the movement. We are going to continue to keep busting you guys upside the head every day between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're coming live from South Africa, live on TikTok, live on YouTube, you guys. Please stay tuned and make sure that you're notified when the HerbMan show comes on. We're always hitting you heavy like this, okay? So don't be afraid of it. Normally, when we come on, we always have a subject matter. I'm going to start to talk to you guys a little bit more, be a little bit more interactive. We need to understand what your root cause is going on in your life. If you're dealing with a disease, you need to be tuning into this show. If you're trying to heal yourself, you need to tune into this show. If you're trying to heal your family, you need to be tuned into this show. If you're trying to be one of the best herbalists in your community, one of the best health advocates for your community, you need to be tuned into this show. Either way, you need to be tuned into this show. If you're going to church, you need to be tuned into this show. If you're going to the mosque, you need to be tuned into the show. If you're going down there to the synagogue, you need to be tuned into this show. If you speak Chinese, tune in. If you speak whoever needs, tune in. And it doesn't matter where you at or where you're from. If you're a rich man, tune in. If you Rico from the block, tune in. If you're a bomb under the thing and you got a cell phone in your hand, tune in. The information is for all of us, man. I love you guys. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And until next time, love HerbMan. Peace. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, YouTube. With all the love. We'll say I ain't tasting. You back.